Whoa, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm May. Today is the first day of October, which means this is going to be the start of my Friday Picks My TBR vlog. This one's going to be a little bit more interesting because, like, in the last version with PC Cat, I did every time I finished a book and the halfway point. This one's just going to be whenever I feel like talking about the book, like each book that I read. So I'm already here to give like a little bit of like a saying. So the first book that I got, if you watched my TBR video, was Call of the Cthulu, I believe is how it's said. I never remember how to say that word. Well, apparently apparently the author is racist. So instead of reading the original book, which doesn't matter because he's dead anyways, but instead of reading that one, I got the graphic novel. It's based off of that story, but wrote by a different author, and I started it today. I love me a good graphic novel. Graphic novels are really easy to read. Sorry that my camera is like focusing in and out because it's been a day. But I'm only 39 pages in. Can I please say that the Cthulhu that's on the tablet does not look like a Cthulhu. It looks like a fucking wet werewolf. That's my first reaction to the book. Is like they're showing us the tablet. I don't know if I can even show you guys. Can you see this? That don't look like a Cthulhu to me. That looks like a wet werewolf. Like, I see how it's supposed to be the Cthulhu, like with the lines. That's like the tentacles. But when I first saw that, I was like, that looks like a fucking bent over wet werewolf. It makes no sense. That's just my first reaction to the book. Like I said, I'm only 39 pages in out of 200, so it's gonna be some time before I'm finished, but that Friday told me to react to the moment. That's my first reaction, is that looks like a wet dog more than a Cthulhu. I try to finish this graphic novel today since it's so short, and hopefully after work I can just knock it out, and then we'll spin the wheel. I don't know if I even explained that. So I'm having my friend Friday pick my TBR for this month. I put all the books in a wheel spin. I'm gonna spin the wheel every time I finish a book to pick out my next one because Friday wanted it to be chaos. Friday wanted me to have no choice into what I read next, so I'm not. And it's gonna be fun. We're gonna buckle up already. But yeah, the first one is the H.P. Lovecraft Call of Cthulhu, but by a different author who isn't racist. I'll be back to tell you more, maybe as I read more. I'm not sure. I'll be back. Okay, so hi, I'm here to give my review of Call of the Cthulhu. Cthulhu. Uh, I'm sorry. I have very conflicting thoughts about this book, and unfortunately, a lot of the thoughts that I have are bad or surrounding the format of the book instead of like the actual plot. But I can't give it a 5-star because of the format that I read it in, and I do kind of regret reading it in this format. I read it as the graphic novel, which I was really excited about because I love graphic novels. I've never had a graphic novel that I haven't enjoyed. This might be the first one that I haven't enjoyed. I'm gonna be giving this a 3 stars. Let's talk about what it's about, and then I'll say the good things that I like about it, and then we'll go into what I don't like. So this is kind of really hard to explain, but it is about a person who inherits their great uncle's research about this statue, and they're trying to figure out what the statue means because the statue has carvings and markings on it, and they are like trying to uncover what their great uncle was researching, and that's like one point of view of the book. But the other point of the view of the book is also the great uncle when he was alive. Another point of view is what was happening at that exact point of view. So there was like 3 timelines like intermingling, which I don't necessarily mind that because that's like, you know, how the information is being shared. But there is like this statue that has markings and like a weird ocean alien on it, and people start having like nightmares about deep dark caverns and weird noises, and it's definitely a cosmic horror, don't get me wrong. The plot is interesting. The things that I don't like is about the graphic novel format. I found that I had a really hard time reading this as a graphic novel because of the drawings. It is in black and white, and that made it really hard to decipher things. Like I was saying in my first reaction clip, I was like, I know this is supposed to be the Cthulhu, but it looks like a wet dog to me. Like it looks like a wet werewolf. Like it was really hard to sometimes see what was actually happening in the photos. I had my fucking phone brightness turned all of the way up, and I was like zoomed in, and I was like, I know this is supposed to be, but why does it not look like it? Like sometimes it made it, like it being black and white with a bunch of shadows on it, it sometimes really hindered your ability to understand what was happening in each panel. And it wasn't like a one-time thing. I felt that way through most of the graphic novel. I kept being like, I can't really see what that is, so I'm just going to swipe past it. The other thing that really bothered me is that the speech isn't in bubbles. It doesn't have like tails. It's just like literally on the panel. And that's fine until you get to the part where there's like 3 groups of text on one photo, and it's just like really hard to fucking read because you're like, why is there just like a throw up of fucking words on this little tiny panel? Like I had to zoom in even more and like trying to read what their words were saying. That could have been fixed by having speech bubbles or like them grouped together like in circles or like putting them on different panels. So I think this being a graphic novel actually decreased my enjoyment of the book because I don't actually have really that many critiques about the actual storyline. I thought it was very interesting. I liked that we were getting like 3 POVs of like current day, great uncle, and then like what was happening and when they found that actual statue, like with the Cthulhu, like what the Cthulhu was even, what it even was. I enjoyed that. I would say I don't find it scary. Like I read a lot of reviews being like, this was terrifying. Maybe it's because I couldn't like really see the pictures to be scared. Like there was one picture where you see the Cthulhu and it like is supposed to have like a bunch of eyes. They didn't look like eyes to me. So I think I really fucked myself by reading it in this format. But I think the writing was super interesting, and I think there's a lot of like really good moments. There's one moment at the very end where they're like on the island with the Cthulhu and it's like busted out of its fucking cavern and it's coming after them. And they try to kill it with their bow, and then like the Cthulhu like dissipates and then it comes back in the sky. And the guy is like, should we pray? And the other guy's he's like, yeah, we should pray, but to whatever fucking god that is. Like, don't pray to the god that we know. Like, pray to whatever the fuck that creature in the sky is. I thought that was a really, I don't want to say good moment, like, you know, it's kind of terrifying, but like that was a really good, like, scary moment in the book when they were like, yeah, pray to whatever that is. Like, our God is not gonna help us here. And I think it's just like he knew he was fucked and he was like, are we even gonna survive? I'm kind of interested in reading other versions of this. I know the original one was racist, but I think there's been like audiobooks and like YouTube videos about like interpretations of this. I'd be really interested to check out other interpretations other than this specific one, because this specific one just did not work for me. And I saw that Friday gave it 5 stars, and I was like, that takes a lot for Friday to give a 5-star, because usually he's a bit more like, I don't want to say judgmental, but like when we were in Tiny Terror together, I like hardly ever saw him give a 5-star. Like there was always something about the horror book that he was like, This one, it being a 5-star, I was like, fuck, I really wish that I would have gotten that experience. And I don't know if it's because I was reading it on my phone through the Hoopla app, and like maybe the way that they presented the graphic novel to you is kind of fucked. I don't know if like maybe it'd be different if I was actually reading the actual graphic novel. I think I need to come back to this one day and like give it another shot in a different format. I also thought like at the very, 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 very end, like when we're back in the present time, the person whose great uncle's research they're looking at, they essentially are like, I'm probably gonna die from this research, so whenever I die, I'm gonna lock it away and hope that no one ever reads it. That kind of gave me the chills. And I did like the breaking up of like the chapters, which were called volumes in manga. Like they had interesting titles, and I thought the pacing was good. It was super short. Like I'm trying to pick out the good things that I liked about it because the format really fucking ruined it for me. So I am trying to still emphasize the good things because it's not a bad book. I just read the bad version of the book. So maybe don't take my opinion very strongly because maybe you'll read it in a different format like audiobook or like a YouTube series, or maybe this interpretation by a different author, and maybe you're like, well, this is fucking amazing. I really hope that for you. Yeah, I think that's all I can really say on Call of the Cthulhu. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. I will say that. That's the last thing that I'll say, actually. I thought I was going to hate this. Like, I thought it was either going to be a DNF or it was going to be a really low rating. Me giving it 3 stars is actually really good when you think about the kind of books that I read. The only other cosmic horror book I read, I gave 2 stars. And I absolutely fucking tore it to shreds in my Storygraph review. I was like, this is the fucking worst book I've ever fucking read. This is just fucking trauma porn. Like, I absolutely went ham on the last cosmic horror book that I read. So this is a much better experience compared to that one. That one, I don't think I've ever read a book as bad as that one. So the fact that this is better, it at least got 3 stars. It at least succeeded that Tiny Terror book that I absolutely hated. So, Friday, I'm sorry. I am still excited for the rest of the month. Like, we're off to a little bit of a rocky start, but I think we still have some really good books coming our way that I probably will enjoy. I hope so. Okay, so I just finished the Call of the Cthulhu. I think it's how it's pronounced. I never do a good job at saying that word, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my next spin. Figure out what I'm reading next, because I want to go ahead and start it. Let's see what we get. Okay. That's actually a completely different vibe. That's a young adult book. And I'll be back as I react to it. Okay, it's me, but a few hours later because I work at the government sector side of things, and there's currently a government shutdown. So I've had a lot of free time to read. So I started listening to The Lonely Hearts of Maybelle Lane as an audiobook, and I'm just here to react to one thing, and then I'll come back a lot later. So there's a scene in this book where this girl, this really, really young girl, goes to the train station to try to buy a ticket to go see her dad, he doesn't know that she's his daughter. Like, she went to go meet her dad for the first time ever. And this girl is like 10 years old. And the person that's selling tickets doesn't even fucking question it. doesn't even go, how old are you? Doesn't ask for an ID of any kind. Doesn't ask like where your parents are. They're just like, oh, you want to go to Nashville? It's gonna be this long with this bus that they transfer to, and it's gonna be $60 each way. Do you want it? And she even calls her ma'am, and I'm like, she must either be a really old-looking 10-year-old, or this train station worker needs to lose their job. I'm concerned for the welfare of these people. The fact that she didn't end up buying the ticket anyways, because her money got stolen. I'm getting too foreign to this, but, like, what I wanted to react to was just the fact that, like, the author wrote that this train station worker was just like, yep, you want this ticket? And no, I think most people in society would be like, you look really young. Like, where's your parents? I sometimes get asked where my parent is, and I'm 26 years old. So, like, I've literally been, like, one time I went to, it's happened twice to me. One time I went to the hospital because I was sick, and the doctor was like, oh, hey, like, the pediatric doctor is going to be here in a moment. And I was like, pediatric doctor? I'm literally 26 years old. I need the adult doctor. And he was like, oh, oopsies. And then one time I went to this craft store with the kids that I was, like, babysitting, and the person running the craft store was like, oh, do you want to do a craft with the kids as well? And I was like, I'm not a kid. And they were like, oh. oh, I thought like you were like their sister. I thought your parents had just dropped you guys all off. I was like, no, I'm the fully grown adult in the situation. I am, well, I don't want to say legal guardian because I'm not. I'm the babysitter. I'm like, I'm the guardian of them currently. And I don't know why. I don't look young for my age. I think I actually like look my age pretty well. But like I get ID'd all the time. So I just simply cannot believe that a 10-year-old was able to buy a train ticket. Like, don't you have to be at least 18 years old to buy a train ticket without an adult? Like, doesn't the adult have to buy the train ticket for you? And then they show up with you like, hey, we're getting on this train. She was just completely by herself. That's wild to me. That's like my first reaction really to the book because I'm like 25% in. It's not a very long audiobook. It's only like 5 hours. I don't know how that sets the book up if we're going to be giving 10-year-olds train tickets. She didn't end up getting it because she lost her money, but still. The concept of it. I don't know what that says about the book, that you wrote that a train station worker wouldn't notice that. I don't know. Sometimes you have to like turn your brain off to things, but sometimes I can't. Like this is one of the scenarios where I just can't. Because I feel like anyone would question why a young child is completely by herself. Like I could get like if she was a teen, like maybe you would assume that they were 18. Like if they were like 14, 15, 16, 17, you were like, oh, they could probably just be a young looking 18-year-old. But a fucking 10-year-old, dude, they're like fucking this tall. I mean, could she even fucking reach the window that she was trying to order a ticket through? Probably not. Yeah, that's my first reaction. I hope that Friday enjoys this, because I hope this is what he's wanting, of me just like ranting about things that I find in the books as I go. But yeah, I'll be back. Whoever knows when. Okay, I'm back again. It's been like 3 hours and I was reading like in between work stuff. I have a couple things to react to that I'm like really have opinions on. First of all, the part that I just left off on, they literally stole a wiener dog. I love this book. I think I might give this 5 stars. What are some other, also, there's a line, this guy is in the back of the RV. I'll tell you what it's about when I actually finish the book. You're just getting like weird reactions. But there's a part where the guy's in the back of the RV. He's like, can you turn some music on? My ears are bored. I'm gonna start saying that. Cause that is such a good, like, autistic, like, ADHD saying. Cause I need background noise at all times. Like, I can't go to sleep without a fan on. I have to, like, listen to things with things also. So being like, my ears are bored, I love that. I love that. I will definitely be using that saying in the future. Something else that I wanted to bring up, this is like I think the last one for now, is that at one point they go to get lottery tickets and the girl, the older woman is like, oh, I've never won. We just do this as a tradition. And then the 10-year-old wins $1,000. I could not stop laughing because if that would have been like in a real life situation, the parents just would have taken the $1,000 and claimed it as their own. In the book, she actually gives it to the 10-year-old and it's like, what do you want to do with it? I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. It's not like a nanny. It's like the person that's taking care of them while their mom is away. Well, while her mom is away. And the 10-year-old's like, I'll give a little bit of money to you. I'll give a little bit of money to myself. I'll give a little money to the other guy. I'm like, she's being raised so well, actually. Like, she's a very caring and generous person. Because one time I won a lawsuit against a fairgrounds company and I, like, got some money. I never saw a dime of that. It was, like, thousands of dollars, and my parents took it all as for their own. That's like my perception when it comes to a lot of money, because, like, my parents were like, well, what would you do with a lot of money at the age of that age? Because I was probably like 8 when this happened, so I was like roughly around the age of the main character. Parents' interpretation of this is like, well, you're 8, in her case 10. What could you possibly need all this money for? We could use this to feed you and to pay bills off. So that's what I was expecting to happen in the book. I was like, oh, she's going to use this money to put in gas or book like a hotel night. And then she actually gives it to the 10-year-old. And I'm like, whoa, you're putting a lot of faith into a 10-year-old to not spend that all carelessly or not to lose it. I mean, 10-year-olds are really bad at losing things. Imagine, she's already lost money at one point. Like, earlier in the book, She lost like $60 out of her pocket, and you thought it was a good idea to give her $1,000 to have in her pocket? Girl, she's gonna lose that in like 10 minutes. She does split it up and gives it to different people and stuff, but this is really funny and I'm really enjoying it. I'm already like 60% in. I'm not too sure if I'll finish it today because I have 2 hours left at work, and then I think I have 3 hours left in the book, so I might get really close to finishing it, but I might have to finish it tomorrow when I'm doing like housework. But I think it's gonna be a 5-star. And I just can't get over them like stealing a wiener dog, because they go to this hot dog place, which them having a wiener dog as a hot dog place is ironic and hilarious all on its own. But the guy yells at the wiener dog for farting because she's like, oh my god, you're a horrible dog, you just won't stop farting, you're driving all the customers away. And the main character is like, well, no one should ever be in a home where they're not treated right. So they offered to take the dog if he doesn't want it, and he's like originally like, oh, you can have it for free. Well, as soon as they start showing interest into the dog, he's like, actually, it's gonna be $200. And they were like, nope. So they tell him to go make the hot dogs, and they steal his dog. And they're like, no one should have to pay $200 to get out of a bad situation. We're just taking him. So there's a lot unfolding in this book, and I promise you're probably like so confused as to like, May, what the hell are you saying? What's the book even about? I'll tell you eventually. I think these out of context reactions kind of make the book sound better and like funnier. Like, imagine you have an idea this book's about, and I'm like, they stole a wiener dog and she won $1,000 on a lottery ticket. You're like, what could this book possibly be about? That's exactly what I'm aiming for, is that kind of reaction. Hello. It is October 4th, and I just finished The Lonely Heart of Maybelle Lane, and I love this. I loved it so much. I'm actually going to be giving this a 5-star. I was not expecting to get a 5-star so early in, but this book truly took me through all the emotions. I do think in the first half, you have to kind of like suspend belief. But I feel like after you get like through all the crazy stuff, like the wiener dog kidnapping and like the 10-year-old buying a train ticket, and once you get past all of that, I think it's a really, really beautiful story of like grief and finding yourself and like going on an adventure. Like, there's the main character, but there's also like 2 characters that are going with her, and they each kind of like get something out of the trip, and it's just really beautiful. I didn't cry at it, but I kind of was like, man, this made me really feel something. So I guess I should tell you what it's about. So this is following Maybelle, who is living with her mom, and her mom performs on cruise ships, so sometimes she's gone for long periods of time, and while her mom is gone, she has to stay with someone. And Maybelle has always wanted to meet her dad. She doesn't know anything about him. Her mom said that she didn't ever even told him that they had kids, so he has no idea that he has a kid, pretty much. And Maybelle decides one day when she hears her dad on the radio that she's going to go meet him. There's going to be like a singing contest, so she signs up for it and decides to try to go all the way to Nashville to go to the singing contest with no parent. She's like, I just want to meet my dad. Well, obviously it didn't work out because they wouldn't sell her the train ticket because she didn't have enough money, because her money gets stolen. So she ends up, whoever's watching her, she ends up persuading them to take her to Tennessee with an RV. It's like a 6-day trip because the lady will only drive 2 to 3 hours a day because she's older. She's like, I only got 2 hours in me. So they would drive for 2 hours, and then it ended up being like a 6-day, 5-day journey. Most of the book is the journey in the RV. Like, they make stops along the way. They kidnap a fucking wiener dog along the way. And there's like a really beautiful story that like blossoms between the 3 characters in the RV. And then like the last like 10% of the book is like them actually at the singing contest. And I don't really want to give spoilers because I do think this is a really cute book that people should probably read. Not that it really is a spoiler, it's just, you know, it is a lit fic. But I don't know what it is about middle grades that make me emotional. Like, I don't know what they put in the middle grades. Like, YA, I like kind of find sad, but like anytime I read a middle grade, it absolutely makes me want to like contemplate my life. Like, every single one I've ever read. I'm like, what are you putting in this? Like, are you eating tears for breakfast? It's really cute. I think my favorite part is that they actually sing the lyrics in the audiobook. I was talking about this with Hot Wax, I believe. In Hot Wax, they don't sing the lyrics. They just read them in a very monotone voice, and that drove me absolutely crazy. I'd rather have them paid someone to sing them or not had them there at all. hearing someone read them like it was the Bible sucked. Well, in this one, there's the lyrics and they actually get sang by someone. And they're not like the most spectacular singer ever. They're not like the most spectacular singer in the universe, but I much preferred them actually singing the lyrics. That way I could tell that it was a song versus them reading it like it's a Bible. Like it was what I was wanting out of Hot Wax. And I even put in like my journal entry. I'm like, oh my god, they're actually singing the song. Like they're singing the lyrics. And I know a lot of people were like, well, these songs don't actually exist. Well, this is a good example of how that doesn't have to exist. You can just sing them to whatever tune you really want. That's what this artist did. She was just like, la da dee da dee da. But like it was still better than it being read, monotone. So I really, really enjoyed that. I also think that the wiener dog ended up being my favorite character. He's so cute. He's so cute and gassy, is what I'll say. And I just think that you kind of have, I think you fall in love with the characters very early on. Like there's like a trio of them. It's the main character and then a young boy and then the person taking them to Nashville. And I think I think you fall in love with them very quickly. They're such easily lovable characters and they all have like a backstory and they all have something going on. Like the lady taking them, her husband has passed away, and the young boy is not in the best home, so he like wants to escape. And then obviously Maybelle is going to Nashville to see her dad. So they all have a purpose for this journey and they all get something out of the journey in the end. And it's really wholesome. It's almost like a found family vibe. So I'm giving it 5 stars. It was the perfect length. It was funny and also sad and also beautiful. Like it had a lot going for it. I can't really think of any critiques. And I think that Friday also gave it 5 stars. So I'm gonna be happy with that. There we go. Let's see what we get. I'm nervous. We had a 3-star and then a 5-star. What are we gonna get this time? What's the third book gonna be? Oh. I'm so excited for this. I think my copy just came in from the library. I think. Or it's about to come in. Let me check. But I can't wait to read this. I know PC Cat just recently read this and she really loved it. Said that she thought it was a fun time. And this is my first introduction into the Discworld. I don't know anything about the Discworld. I haven't watched Gavin's videos about Discworld because I didn't want spoilers of any kind. So I'm kind of going really in blind, even though I know it's a big series. Like, it's a really, really big series as in fan base, but also a really big series as in number of books in the series. So this is going to be interesting. I am like middle of the road on how I'll feel about this. Like, I'm either going to really, really love it or I'm going to hate it. And we're going to find out. I'm going to start this tomorrow and I'll be back. Okay, I started reading Mort today. My first reaction to say is he autistic or like neurodivergent of any kind? Because he's giving those vibes. Literally, I'm like only 100 pages in, and the way that he gets described is so like autism coded. And I'm making this joke as someone who literally has autism, so I'm not being ableist or anything. Like he's wrote like as being like he's wrote as being like quirky, and they're like, oh, it's not that he's stupid, his just mind's a little bit different, and he apparently like really hyperfixates on like math, and like he really hyperfixates on like curiosities. He loves learning. I think this man is neurodivergent. What a weird way of just saying neurodivergent, you know what I mean? And I'm covering this because it has my library name on it, and I don't want to dox myself, but it is the book. I promise. That's my only reaction so far. I mean, I am enjoying it, but all 100 pages, I thought to myself, I think this man is neurodivergent. I think he is. I think I sense one of me. My autism spidey senses are tingling, if I say so myself. Okay, I'm back much later to talk about some more of Mort. It's actually really good. Like, I don't think it's a 5-star, but I think I'm enjoying it way more than I thought I would. And I took down some notes to talk about because I read like 100 pages while at work, and I was like, oh, I'll just talk about it after I get off work. I only have like 100 pages left in the book, so I'll be finishing it probably really soon. But hold on. Yeah, I'm 82% into the book right now. Let me go to my journal entries. Okay. So Something that made me get so confused is there a line in the book that goes, princesses, they're so noble they can pee through a dozen mattresses. What the hell does that mean? Like, what does that mean? What does it mean that they can pee through a dozen mattresses? I do not understand that line at all, and because I don't imagine that it's sexual. Because they said they're noble. Like, I might need to Google that and come back. But then another line that got me was at the part where the girl is visiting the wizard for the first time, and she's trying to use the door knocker, yeah, whatever. And he's like being kinky with her. He's like, yeah, I like it hard like that. Be rough with me. I was like, whoa, whoa. Why are we getting kinky? So actually, maybe that peeing through 12 mattresses is sexual. Is there like some sexual innuendos that I'm not realizing until now when I'm talking about it? Who knows? It's really good though. It's like silly, and I don't know if it's meant to be silly or if I'm just interpreting it as silly, but it's like very silly in my opinion. Like, I'm kind of giggling at a lot of it. Just like the whole setup of it, the whole world of it, the way the plot is talked about. Mort is so cute. I want to like protect him and be his friend and give him the world, honestly, currently. Like, he just wants to be loved. Like, he just wants a chick. I can't blame him for his actions. He just wants a chick. He just wants someone to love, and he wants to be loved. But those are my, like, current reactions, like, to what I read today. It's kind of a little silly and maybe a little sexual, and maybe I'm too asexual to just realize that until right this second, but I am here to give my review of Mort. And this is going to be a surprise to you, a surprise to me, a surprise to everyone, but I actually ended up really loving this. And I'm going to be giving it a 4.5. This is about a young guy who is not very liked. They think that he's like weird, that his body is weird, that his mind is weird. I think he's just autistic. So he doesn't really have a job, his family doesn't really like him, he doesn't have any friends. Well, one day when he's out searching for a job, Death, literally the guy who's known as Death, shows up and is like, hey, I'm actually looking for an apprentice. I'll feed you. You'll get good money. You'll have a house to live in. It'll be a fun time. All you have to do is follow me around and help kill people, like collect people. You don't have to even kill anyone. They die on their own and you just collect their spirit. And Mort does end up going with him. And the book is about that, but it's also about the fact that when Mort is sent out to kill someone for the first time, I don't want to know why I'm saying kill. He doesn't kill them. When Mort is sent out to collect his first spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, he kind of messes up all three of them, but he really messes up the third one because he decides to save the person instead of actually collecting their soul because he is like in love with them. So the entire book is about Mort fucking things up, and then Mort really not trying to fix things. He's actually making things worse, and then like the book, it does get fixed in the end, but that's what the book is about. I really liked it. I wasn't bored ever. The only reason why I'm not giving it a 5 stars is because since there was no chapters, I think sometimes it was a little confusing as to who was speaking because it would jump to a different point of view of like different characters. And we didn't always know who was who. It didn't always say like, I'm this person. You kind of had to use like context clues. And I just think sometimes that made it a little hard to understand. But that's it. Like, that's my only critique. I thought the plot was interesting. I mean, they live in a world that is a fucking giant turtle and there's elephants on top of the turtle and that's their universe. I'm like, that's cool as shit. That's cool as shit. I love that. I literally love that world building. And as much as I was really hoping this wouldn't happen, I'm actually super intrigued to read the rest of these. I know there's a lot. There's like fucking 40 of them. I know there's a lot. I'm also covering the book because it's a library book and I don't want to dox my library, especially because it's right on the front. I know there's a lot in this series, and I'm not saying that I'm going to read them anytime soon, but maybe in 2026 it might be a series that I tackle. I'm super intrigued by this world and like how each one is like. Like, is each one its own story, or is it like all the stories combine in some kind of way in the end, or is it like each one exists in this universe but it's its own? I'm like super intrigued to know more. I didn't watch Gavin's video because I didn't want spoilers, and I did watch Pizza Cat's video because she did a good job of like avoiding spoilers. And I know Pizza Cat was really excited to see me read this, and I'm really happy to say, Pizza Cat, that I loved it. And Friday also was wanting me to read it, or he wouldn't have put it on the TBR, but I loved it, Friday. I loved it. If only it had chapters, it might have gotten a 5 from me. But yeah, I love it, and I think I'd recommend it. And I love the fact that it's like book number 4, but I was able to just pick it up and read on its own. This might have been the best one that he could have given me, because anything to do with death, like a death character, like a character named Death, I find super interesting, and I love it, and I typically eat it up. I'm typically like, I want more information. Tell me more about this death person. And it was silly, and it was funny. And also, I do want to say that I mentioned the whole, they're so noble they can piss through 12 mattresses. I finally figured that out. It's not a sexual joke. It's just a joke on the whole princess and the pea thing, where like she's a princess and there's a pea underneath 12 mattresses. It's a joke off of that. Took me so long for that to click. I'm autistic, if you couldn't tell. I don't always get the jokes. Sometimes jokes just go swoop, right over my head. And then I literally was like Googling it, because I was like, what could they have possibly have meant? And then as soon as I Googled it, everyone was like, oh, it's a joke about that princess and the pea thing. And I'm like, oh my god. So they heard P, like instead of PEA, they were hearing PEE, thinking that princesses were just peeing through mattresses. And now that I got the reference, now I understand a bit more. I thought it was some kind of weird fucking sexual joke, because this wouldn't be the first time. There's a couple places that I was like, is that a sexual joke? I'm really excited to maybe dive into this in 2026. It'd be a long haul though. Like I mean, if there's 40 books and I read 200, this would account for what? 25% of my reading in 2026? Maybe I could commit to reading like the first 10 in 2026, or maybe like the first 15. I don't know. Maybe I should just start by reading the first 5 to make sure I even like them. Like, would it make sense for me to go back to number 1? I need someone to provide me with a reading order. Am I supposed to? Well, obviously I'm not supposed to read these in 1 through whatever, because Friday gave me the book 4 to start with. So I need to know how I'm supposed to read these. Like, where am I supposed to go next? Someone please tell me, because I'm intrigued. I won't do it this year, but I would like to put it in the books for next year, though, for sure. That's all I can say. I recommend, and I really surprised myself how much I liked it. Okay, it is time to get our next book. I'm very excited. I want to get like a smut. Like, I haven't gotten any of the smut yet. I'm really surprised. Give me a smut. Give me a smut. Give me a smut. Okay. That's not a smut, but I know Friday will be really excited to know that I'm finally getting to this. And I don't think it's very long either, so I might be able to read a good portion of it today. But at least I don't think it's a smut. I think it's more like a graphic, gory book, if I remember what he was saying. We'll eventually get to the smut, I guess. I guess it's like, you can wait your turn. You can get through all this disgusting, scary books, and then you can have the weird smut for last. That's probably what it's gonna do to me, honestly. But I'm gonna start Super Sharks right now, and I'll be back. So I've literally read 1 chapter of Sewer Sharks and Friday. What the hell? What the hell? Let me just on the first page of this book, let me just read you this. On literally the first page, in the first paragraph, it says, it's sometimes said that Florida is America's Wang, and if that's the case, then Skids Bay would be a crusty genital wart. Way to really set up the storyline and like where it's being taken place at. I finished the chapter, and a guy literally was taking a fat shit in an abandoned public restroom, and then he gets his junk bit off by a shark, and then he falls into the toilet and dies. And that's literally in just chapter 1. What the hell is this book gonna be about? I'm already kind of loving it. It's so silly. I think it's meant to be like funny more than like gruesome. I can't. That's all I have to say. I can't. So I took a shower and ate lunch, and I'm back to react on something in this book. I'm 30% in. I'm probably gonna get to 50% today before I stop. And I thought this book was already on a level of unhinged, but it somehow got worse. I just read a chapter where a guy just shit a shark out of a limo window. I have nothing else that I can really say on that, so I'll just let you sit with that. A guy shit a shark out a limo window. I think that really sums up what this book is like, you know? It was already weird when I thought he was gonna shit out the window, because he's like, I have to go to the bathroom right now. I have to go to the bathroom right now. So I was like, oh, he's gonna shit out the window. He's drunk, whatever. No, he shits a shark. Somehow he shits a literal living baby shark. I'll give you some time to process that. What the hell, Friday? I need to know how Friday found this book. Friday read like Cotton Candy Massacre and then was like, oh, I might as well just read everything else by the author? Or did Friday find this book first? And if you found this book first, how did you find this first? Like, what did you go searching for to find this kind of book? Because I never would have known this existed if it wasn't for you. And it's not, the thing about it is, it's not bad. I'm actually enjoying it. Like, I'm actually really enjoying it. I wouldn't say it's a 5-star, but it's definitely a 4-star. Could end up being a 5-star depending on how it goes. But it's very entertaining. It's very silly. It's very funny. It's very, like, mind-boggling. But, like, I can't stop reading. I literally haven't been able to put it down. Like, I took a shower and I ate lunch, and now I'm, like, flying through chapters while at work. And I'm not going to finish it today because I do have to stream this evening. But I'm going to get really, really into it. Like, a lot farther than I thought I was going to. But, yeah. So far, we have this spot being compared as a genital wart. We have someone who just took a shit in an abandoned spot and got their asshole ate by a shark, and now we have a shark being born out of someone's asshole. So there's a lot of ass stuff happening around sharks. Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm actually loving it. Okay, it is Wednesday, and I'm here to give my review of Sewer Sharks, which is the book that I was reading for Friday. And guys, I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but I'm giving this 5 stars. You're shocked. I'm shocked. Everyone's gonna be shocked. I have, like, no notes. Like, this is, like, the stupidest fucking book that I've ever read, but I loved every minute of it. Like, I could not stop reading. Like, I kept wanting to be like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Who's gonna get eaten by the weird sharks next? And it is the weirdest plot. I don't even know how to really describe it, but it's essentially about these characters who are at this town that's known as the genital wart of Florida. And there is these sharks that are going around eating people, like serial killer sharks. But no one knows why they're acting like that. And the book is about finding out why they're acting like that, figuring out how to stop them. And you get, like, so many different points of views. Like, a bunch of people are included in, like, the chapters, and I love that you got so many point of views, because I think it would have been boring if you were just following one person, but you're following so many. So many. And there is, like, a weird alligator Jesus plot line in there as well. Like, they believe that Jesus has come back as an alligator instead of a human, and I literally have no notes. I did have to skim a little bit during some of the more graphic, gory scenes, but, like, just like once or twice, maybe like towards the end when it was like getting really, really, really bad, like really gory and graphic, I skimmed just a little bit. But that's not even a complaint because I knew that going into it. That was just something that I had to do to like accommodate to the book. But I loved it. I will definitely be reading the sequel and anything else by this author. I really enjoy how funny and fun and exhilarating their books are. Like I seriously was like, I don't want to stop reading. Like I finished this in under 24 hours. I would have finished it way sooner if I didn't have to stream. But yeah, I'm giving it 5 stars. This is a spooky book. I mean, what more could there be for spooky, spooky season other than sharks that are coming out of people's assholes and sharks eating people and sharks interrupting orgies and the sharks are just cock blocking pretty much. The sharks are just interrupting all the fun or maybe having their own fun. I know it's like really stupid and gross but sometimes you just need that. Sometimes that's just the fun book, So I'm giving it 5 stars, which is a huge shock to me. It's going to be a huge shock to it's going to be a huge shock to Friday when he sees this. I loved it. I really did. It was so much fun. Like probably my favorite that I've read so far in this month. Okay, it is time to spin the wheel. It's time to spin the wheel. We only have 8 books left. I'm killing it. I've read 4 books already. I'm a little delayed. I need to speed up a little bit more because it's, the 8th. And I've read 4 books. So it's taking me about 4 days for each book. I've been busy with work, but I'm still confident that I can get through these 8. Especially some of these are really, really short. I would really love to have one of the crazy wild smuts. I'd really love to have one of those. So let's see what we get. Give me a smut. Give me a smut. Wow. It said you're going to read that author back to back. This is the exact same author of Sewer Sharks. And now I just got this one again. This one's a lot longer. This one is a full-size novel, but if it's anything like the one that I just read, like the writing-wise, I'm going to really love it. We're starting Cotton Candy Massacre. If I finish this by the end of the this week, I might also talk about this in my spooky video. Spend a spooky week with me. I cannot believe that we just got this one back to back. That is so ironic. That's so ironic. Okay, well, I'm gonna go start it. Okay, so I started reading Cotton Candy Massacre yesterday, and I mostly read it really late at night, so I didn't give an update or any kind of reactions. But I was gonna come on today and be like, hey, I'm like 30% in. It's going great so far. I'm not worried about finishing it at all because it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because it's like very not that bad in the beginning. And then I was like really excited to read it today because I actually am really into the plot. Like I'm loving the plot. And I'm loving the way the author is writing it, kind of like a movie where it's like cut to this, cut to that. And it's kind of like wrote like a script, which I am enjoying. Today, I read 5% more and I almost throw up. I literally think to myself, oh God, it was just teasing me. I thought I was fine and it's actually not fine. It's actually really graphic. Yeah, I am convinced that Friday might have a stomach of iron and like maybe needs to go get in the World Guinness Book because I just read the chapter where everything hits the fan and I just literally read about someone peeling their skin off and eating it. And I was like, okay, this was really graphic and I hated it and it made me want to throw up. But maybe it's skimmable. Because like I said, I'm really into the plot. I'm loving the plot. So I'm like, let me just do one more chapter. I read the next chapter and it's a girl who takes out her false teeth and breaks a crystal ball and puts the shards in her mouth like the teeth. And then she chops someone's dick off with the crystal board shards teeth. Friday, how do you find these books? I'm fighting against DNFing because I really like the plot. But I wish that you guys could like see how I'm reading, but I'm reading while at work, so like I can't really show that. But essentially, Cameron came in when I was reading that one chapter, and he said that I look like this. I was like, reading that chapter that was only like 5 pages long, and then he left the room, and then I was just reading the glass shard chomping dick scene, and I was like, ugh. I think that I'm either gonna have to skim that stuff or I'm gonna have to DNF and just have Friday spoil the book for me. But I'm fighting so hard to not DNF because I want to read it on my own because I want to know what's happening. Like, there is this cotton candy and people just ate it for the first time and it's like making them fucking act all kinds of ways. Yeah, and I want to know what's going on with the cotton candy. So that's my first reaction to the Cotton Candy Massacre. Don't be surprised if the next time I check in, it's to say that I DNF'd. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try. But if it's gonna be like every chapter is a graphic death, I might have to DNF it. Because those chapters back to back were graphic. If it's even like, if I can even go just every couple of chapters without graphic deaths, I could probably handle it. If it's every single chapter, I might have to DNF. And God, please, I don't really want to. I'm enjoying it. So just, the next time I check in, it might be, hey, I'm DNF'd. Or it might be, hey, I got through it. I'm not finishing today, probably, because I only have an hour left of work. And I'm going to read it while I'm, during my last hour of work. And then I have to switch to some other things that are not reading based. So I'll probably end up either DNFing it today or probably actually finishing it tomorrow. Because I'm 150 pages in. Like, I'm almost 50% in. Like, I checked on my Kindle and I only have 2 hours left of reading the book. And I don't know if I just maybe skim a lot of the graphic stuff just to get to the plot. I'll let you know what I end up deciding in the next update. But good gravy. This not, but I was literally about to tell you guys, like, oh, it's great, I'm doing so good. And then I read that chapter before. I literally was like, oh, let me just read one or two chapters before I update them. And then those just so happened to be the chapters where everything hits the fan. I literally wanted to hurl. But I also just ate lunch not too long ago, and that might have been a mistake. Like, that might be why my stomach is a lot more, like, reactive to this. It's like, oh, that's fucking disgusting, and we literally just ate. I might never eat cotton candy after this. Or be able to look at a carnival the same way. This is all I can say. Be prepared for the next update on what I'm back. Okay, so you know how I said in the last clip that if I came back, it was either going to be because I DNF'd it, because I did it? Well, I'm happy to say that I did it. I have finished Cotton Candy Massacre, and I really, really liked it, but I don't love it. No offense to Friday. I won't be giving this a 5-star. I'm gonna give this a 4-star. I have like 2 main critiques for the book, and then like, but I was super into the plot. Like, the plot is really, really, really great. I was a little nervous because for like 3-4 chapters, it was super gory, almost to the point where I almost had a DNF. But after those like 3 or 4 chapters, it kind of like leveled out to like a normal level of like murder and gore and graphics, so that I was able to like stomach it, because I was really loving the plot. I just was like, how am I gonna read through all this stuff? Like, trigger warning for gore, because I'm just gonna say some of the things that happened that was really hard to read. Like, at one point there was someone peeling off their own skin and eating it, calling it a banana pill. There was next someone that took their teeth out and replaced them with glass shards and was biting people's dicks off. Then there was these kids who got turned into the clowns who took someone's intestines out and used them as jump ropes. And I almost didn't make it through all that, but thank fucking goodness. Like, thank goodness it calmed down enough for me to finish, because I did really like it, and I think it's a very interesting actual horror book, and I am glad that I was able to finish it, because I know it's one that Friday really loves. My main critique, you don't actually find out what's going on with the cotton candy or the cotton candy machine. You're kind of just left not knowing. And I hate when that happens in books. It's one of my pet peeves. I don't like when things aren't just wrapped up or like not explained. And then it also doesn't have a closed ending. It has an open ending. And I'm just like, I don't like those in horror books. I feel like it's lazy, because it's like, you know, if you're going to write a book, write the whole thing. I don't want to use my imagination. If I wanted to use my imagination, I would write the book myself. I do know that there's 2 other books in the series, and I'm not sure if in the other 2 books, if it would give information about this one, but I went on Storygraph, and it seemed like they were all their own, like, murder, massacre type deal, because it's like Cotton Candy Massacre Part Toots or whatever. So it seems like it's like characters in this book, but like its own like plot line. So Friday, let me know if it actually tells you what happens in those books, because then I'll continue it. I just was like a little like not happy when we don't actually find out what happens with the cotton candy machine, because that's part of the reason why I was pushing my not pushing, I don't want to use that word. That's why I was incentivized to finish the book. It's because I really wanted to know what was behind everything, and then you don't actually find out. So I definitely could have DNF'd and been totally fine. I could have just DNF'd and had Friday tell me who the last people living were, because you don't really find out. Like, you know who's behind it. You know that from the entire get-go. You don't know why people are turning into clowns. You don't know what's going on with the fucking cotton candy machine. You don't know what's going on with the weird incest family daughter. I don't want to get into the incest. Potential incest. You don't learn any of that in this book. And so I definitely could have, when it was getting a little bit too much, I could have definitely have just stopped right there. But I was like, oh, I'm really loving the plot. Like, I want to keep going. I want to know more. You don't really know more. You don't. Like, you just, as you keep reading, more people keep dying. Like, you pretty much, like, if I would have stopped where I stopped, then I could have just lived in denial that everyone was still alive. Like, I could have just been like, la-da-dee-da. That character is still very much alive to me, and I wouldn't have known any better. Like, now that I have finished it, I'm left with questions, and I know who dies, and I'm sad. I'm joking. One of the deaths literally made me cry. Like I took it really hard for some odd reason. I'm not sure why, but I definitely did, and I was like, man, why am I taking this death harder than all the other ones? I still don't know for sure, but that was my main critique. My second critique is that we get a lot of different point of views, which isn't necessarily the problem. The problem is, I wish that we would have gotten a couple characters' point of views more than we were. Like, I would have really have liked to gotten Ruth a lot more than what we did, because the Ruth is like the mastermind behind this, and we like barely get her point of view. We're mainly in the main characters who are getting slaughtered. I would have really liked to get into like an insight into her brain and why she was doing this and her motivations, and we don't. I think that it's like a missing element for me. Is like, I wish I could have had like that extra bit of like information. So I guess it's kind of connected to the closed ending versus open ending thing that I was discussing. But it's really hard to explain the plot. I mean, because the title pretty much tells you what you need to know. It's a cotton candy massacre. There is an amusement park that's been closed for a long time because someone got killed in a cotton candy machine. Well, then the cotton candy machine is found, and they decide to reopen the amusement park back up, and they're selling cotton candy out of the same exact machine that killed someone. And the cotton candy that comes out of this machine is black, and when people consume it, it makes them turn into like fucking freaky, scary clowns that want to eat people and kill people and burn them alive. And so it was like, I was like, what's going on with the cotton candy? Like, what about it? What about the cotton candy is making them go, no, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? You don't know. I mean, I have some theories. Like, I'm assuming that probably since the machine is so old and it was sitting in storage, it probably has a lot of rust on it. So it could have been like a lot of iron entering your body from the cotton candy. And if you don't have anemia, like me, it might have been too much iron and it could have been messing with their brains. I assumed it was just like something that was like in the machine going into the cotton candy. But I also understand the side of it where it's just supposed to be like, oh, it's a cursed item. It's just cursed. That's not good enough for me, because nothing else about this story is paranormal. And I just think having like a cursed cotton candy machine and it being the only cursed part of the book, it's just like a little tiny bit not realistic to me. But also, maybe that's the whole point. Like, maybe you don't get told what's wrong with the cotton candy because it's like, oh, well, it's a cursed machine, so of course it's going to have cursed cotton candy coming out of it. I, as someone that's analytical, I just thought there was an actual explanation behind the cotton candy making people go crazy, and there's not. Like, I think it's definitely supposed to just be like, oh, well, it's the cursed machine. damn that cursed machine. And it's like, but what is it haunted by a ghost? Like, I want to know more about the cursed machine, even if that is the story behind it. Like, I would like to know more, please. So yeah, that's like my main complaints around it. I'm gonna give it a 4. I thought the plot was interesting. I wouldn't call it fun because it is very graphic and a lot of people are dying. A lot of people are not good deaths either. Not there's any deaths that are good, but like it's very horrific deaths. People die in a lot of ways that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't even wish that. I wouldn't even have wished that on my worst enemy. But yeah, I'm glad that I got through it so that I can understand like what Friday's been talking about and now and such. So we are gonna spin the wheel. I have to redo the intro to this video because I realized that this is going to end up being a really long video, and I have decided to break it into 2. We're going to have a 2-part series. So instead of having this being my October wrap-up, we're going to have this be, it's still going to be my wrap-up, but it's going to be like almost like a reading vlog instead. So we're going to have 6 books in the first video that will come out the week before Halloween, and then we'll have 6 books in the second video that comes out on actual Halloween. We only have 1 book left in this video, if this all goes to plan. So this is the 5th book. We're going to spin the wheel right now to see what our 6th book is. And I'm not really sure what I'm wanting, because I know if I get Cabin in the Woods, that is like Friday's last recommendations, and the other 6 are recommendations that he got from other people, so it'd be a good way of splitting it up. I also think it'd be fun if we got a smut, because we have 3 smuts, and it'd be really fun if we got 1 to finish this off. I also think it'd be cool if we got like Cthulhu Cat to wrap it up with a cute book, but I am going to be calling this like Friday Frights, even though it's not technically a really scary video. It's still like on the spooky theme. At this point of the video, you'll like, after you've already watched it, you might be like, well, this is not what May typically does. I'm explaining why that I'm doing this now. It just would have been a really long video, and I don't mind a really long video, but I thought it'd be just a really good way of just getting an extra video out by just cutting it right in half. So let's go ahead and go to the scene to spin the wheel. Okay, we don't have much left. We have the 3 smut, and then we have the Cthulhu Cat, which is a cute book, and then we have 3 horror books left. So we're either going to get 1 more horror book, a cute book, and our smut book to wrap this video up. So I'm intrigued. I'm a little nervous. Let's find out. What will the wheel gods give us? Is it going to make it? It's a smut. This is the dragon smut that Friday has been talking about to me, about her doing weird positions with a dragon. I'm fucking excited to read this. This is going to be a good way to end this video. Because we've had a cute book. We've had like a fantasy. We've had some scary books. And now we have like a smut in the mix. I'm very excited. So this is going to be what I'm reading last for this part of the video, for part 1 of the October wrap-up. So I will be back to give you some reactions on this book when I actually read it. It'll probably just be me reacting to the smut. Like, I don't even know if there is an actual plot. Okay, I'm here to talk about Serpent of Sky and Flame. I haven't finished yet. This is my first reaction to it. Read 100 pages today. I just got to the first smut scene, and y'all, this makes me feel like such a slut. I love dragons, and she's not having sex with like a dragon in its human form. She just had sex with a dragon. Like, well, they didn't have, you know, P and V. They just got acquainted with each other, like, in his dragon form. I don't think I've ever read a book where he's like a legit dragon. I've read a bunch of books where he's a dragon shifter and they have sex like in his human form. I've never read a book where they're literally doing it in the dragon form, which they haven't done it. Like, they're just, it's getting to that point. It's heating up. This is like, you know, putting the stove on level 4. You know, you're getting a little bit of a boil. I love it. Do I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars? Probably not. But it seems to have an actual plot, which kind of intrigues me, because I thought Friday just gave me like pointless smut. I didn't think that Friday gave me actual plot with the smut, and that excites me because I love a good plot and smut. You know, it's like the best team. So I like it. I like it a lot. It's really fun, really entertaining. I read the 100 pages pretty quickly. I'm going to try to get to 50%, so I think I need to read like 50 more pages because I want to finish it tomorrow, because I want to have it finished the end of this week. I want it to be finished so that I'm not taking it into next week because today is Saturday. So I'd love to get it finished tomorrow on Sunday. That way, that wraps up this video, and then I can spend the rest of the next 2 weeks reading the other 6 books that I'll talk about in the next video. So that's the plan. But I think it's definitely going to be a 4-star. It's really, he seems so hot. Like, he's on the cover and he's hot, and I would definitely love to ride him. I'd love to take a ride on him in the sky. Riding, yeah, like a saddle. Like a horse. That's totally what I mean. That's totally what I mean. I'm being totally appropriate. Yeah, so I really like it, and I didn't realize how long it was gonna be. I thought, like I said, I thought he gave me like pointless smut, but it's actually like 300, 400 pages. So we got some plot with our smut. I'm excited. Yeah, that's all I can say for now. I will be back to react to it later. Probably I'll be back to react for the first time they have physical PNV moments of Dragon and her, and I will be back for that. You best believe that probably might be the next moment that I come back to react to. Okay, so I know I said I'd be back when the action happened. It hasn't happened yet, but I wanted to talk about something because it just happened, and it was like, it's a pretty big thought in my mind. In my last clip, I said I never read a book where they're not dragon shifters. Like, they're just whole ass dragons. They just became dragon shifters. I was really hoping that they were just going to be dragons the whole time, like full ass dragons. Because I was like, that kind of be hot. But no, they're dragon shifters now, which doesn't mean the book is bad. It just wasn't where I thought it was going. It's about these dragons who are in battle, and then all of a sudden, all the female dragons fall out of the sky and die right before their mating season. And they decide that since the supreme sorcerer, who was on the other side of, conflict, killed all of their females, that they would still female, women, like female humans. They would still female humans to take the place of the female dragons that they lost. And at first you think they're gonna, like, take advantage of them without their consent, but then you find out that they actually want to do a spell to change them into female dragons. Well, they get a sorceress to perform the spell, but she actually performs it differently, and she turns all the dragons into dragon shifters. So for like 8 hours of day, they are humans, and they can have interactions with humans much easier, and they will still have dragons as babies, which doesn't really make the most sense to me, but it will be fine, I'm sure. I'm just a little 1% upset that they're not going to be full-blown dragons and they're now dragon shifters, because I thought that would stand out, because all the other books that I've read, they've been dragon shifters, and I was like, maybe this will be the first time that I read a full-blown dragon. No, it's going to be just like the other books where they're dragon shifters. It's fine. It's just something to know, since I talked about it so much in the last clip. I'm on chapter 18 out of 25, so I'm getting closer, and I'll definitely be finishing. It is the next morning. I just haven't changed. But by the time I do my review, I will be changed. It's just, I was reading late last night, and then I woke up this morning and started reading immediately, so then I was like, okay, I'll just film this clip in the same clothes, and then I'll get a shower, and then be back to actually give my review later. But yeah, still loving it. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I have finished The Serpent of Sky and Flame, and I really enjoyed it. It did have a bit of an abrupt ending, which I was not expecting, so I will definitely be reading the other books eventually. I'm going to add it to my 2026 series tracker list, but I'm going to give it 4 stars. I thought it was really great. The smut was fun. Unfortunately, she did not screw him in his dragon form, which I think is a dang shame. But, maybe in the other books, maybe I gotta read the other ones. And look, there's 4 of them. I was not expecting this to be like a whole ass series. I didn't know they turned Dragon's Mutt into a whole series, but I'm here for it. I did in fact giggle when I got to the part where she hangs off of him like a sloth. She's literally just hanging off of him. She's like gripped on, yeah, you get the visual. It made me giggle. And it was mostly smut, but there is a plot. Unfortunately, you don't get to really know much of the plot in this one because, like I said, it kind of has an abrupt ending, so you would have to read all the books to get the full plot. So don't read this just for the plot is what I would say. I would read this more for the smut, and then if you like it, you could continue it in the other books, but if you don't care about the plot, then you could just stop here. I think I care enough for the plot to want to know more. I just won't get to them anytime soon is the only thing. But I loved it, and I know that Friday picked this out because it's like the wildest smut that he's read, and I agree. It was pretty wild. I think my favorite scene is just how like snarky they are with each other, and like Maybelle, so she like pisses on the nest, and he's like, "Are you a fucking child? Why are you pissing on your bed?" I don't think I even really did a good job of what the book is about. The book, like, oh no, I did. I kind of said it's about how the dragons, the female dragons, are all dead now, so they're trying to figure out how to repopulate the dragon species. So they're hoping to use females. Well, now their spell went airwire. Instead of turning the females into dragons, the men got turned into dragon shifters. So for 8 hours a day, they are human. And it was just so funny to read the whole process of them having babies, because like they just have to, like, it's a human hatching out a egg. And it was so silly to read, because it was like, oh well, the spell I did is making it so the eggs are easier to pop out, but still the whole idea of a human laying an egg, it's so fucking stupid. I loved it though. I loved it, and I am definitely gonna be reading the other ones. This is the wrap up to part 1. I don't know if I did a good job of explaining what happened, because I didn't redo the intro, because the intro was very basic. I kind of just said what the video was going to be, and then I jumped into talking about the first book, and I don't want to have to redo that and take away my initial reactions. So I'm just going to leave that in, and then I kind of explained it in the last book. But what happened was I realized it was going to be a very long video if I did all 12 plus books in one go. So I've decided to split it up, at least into 2 parts. I'm going to do 6 in this video. I did 6 in this video. This will go up, and then I will do another video where I read the other 6. The other video will come out on actual Halloween. And if by chance I read more than the 12 books that I planned, I will do a 3rd video that comes out in November where I will talk about the other books that I read, because he gave me a list of 15. I just wasn't sure if I'd get to all 15, so I prioritized 12. Well, I did the math, and if I want to finish the other 6 before the end of the month, I have to only read 50 pages a day. I read at least 100. So there is a very good chance that I might get to the rest of the books, but I'm not going to make any promises. So there will at least be 2 parts to this. This is part 1. We covered the first 6 books. You can check in for the next video. I'll read the other 6 books. And then there may be a part 3. We'll see how that goes. But I just didn't want to put up a 3 to 4 hour long video. Not that it would be a problem. I just think that it'd be a bit more digestible if, you know, I broke it up. Also, I've realized that I like the idea of them coming out on Fridays because his name is Friday. Typically, I post on Sundays. And then I was like, wait a second, why don't I just post on Fridays? Because his name is Friday and it'll be on theme. And I'm calling them Friday Frights because emotions are scary. Sex can be scary. Some of them are genuinely actually scary. So I think even though they're not all scary books, I think the Friday Frights is just a really funny, punny title of like, because people, you know, I cried a bunch in some of these books and emotions are scary. So I think even the books that aren't scary, you can call them scary in your own interpretation. And I think that it'd just be a really fun title. So I know that this won't be the typical how it's done. Like I usually only post on Sundays. And I only do like a monthly wrap up. There won't be a monthly wrap up. This is the monthly wrap up. It's just split into 3 parts. If I, for some reason, get to the end of the 12, if I, for some reason, get to the end of the 2nd video and I'm like, oh my god, I still have a week left, I will just do a 3rd video where I give my overall stats. If I get to the end of the 6th book in the next video, I'm like, I'm not going to finish anymore, I'll just give the stats in that video. So it's still going to be happening, just a different format this time. Just for easeability, for editing and filming, and so that it's a bit more digestible on the eyes and the audience. If I put up a 4 hour long video, it'd be like longer than the Avengers movies. So I'm not Marvel, okay? I gotta keep it nice and short. And I mean, I'd even be fine putting up like a 2 hour long video. I just had a gut feeling this was gonna end up being a very, very long video. So it's going to be called Friday Frights, as you can see from the title that you clicked on. By the time you get to the video, I'm sure you know what's happening, but this is just like a little, in case you got to this point and you're like, wait, what's happening? This isn't the wrap up. It's not. It's better. just a little refresher on the 6 books that I read in this video and when I ended up giving them. I started off with The Call of the Cthulu. I give it a 3.5, and then I next read The Lonely Heart of Maybelle Lane, which I gave a 5 stars. And then I read Mort, which is in the Discworld series, and I give it a 4.5. And then I read Sewer Sharks and The Cotton Candy Massacre by the same author back to back, and I'm giving Sewer Sharks a 5 and Cotton Candy Massacre a 4. And then I'm giving Serpent of Sky and Flame, which is the book that I just read, a 4. So we're doing really great. I mean, we've only had one book be below 4 stars. That's really, really great. I expected you to hate some of these. I even spoke with Friday, and Friday was like, all the books that I expected you to DNF, you've read them. He said, so I have no idea what's going to happen now. Like, this might end up being a really fun time that neither one of us was expecting, because he's like, you don't like gore, you don't like scary stuff, and for some odd reason, my brain is just loving them now. So we surprised both of us. So I hope you enjoyed this first part of the video. You can check back in on Halloween, October 31st, for the second part if you'd like to watch the other 6 books that I'm going to be reading. Bye for now.